I very frequently get the question, what's going to change in the next 10 years? And that is a very interesting question, it's a very common one. I almost never get the question, what's not going to change in the next 10 years? If you're not stubborn, you'll give up on experiments too soon. And if you're not flexible, you'll pound your head against the wall and you won't see a different solution to a problem you're trying to solve. Email has some magical ability to turn off the politeness gene in a human being. If we can keep our competitors focused on us while we stay focused on the customer, ultimately we'll turn out all right. We are stubborn on vision. We are flexible on details. People who are right most of the time are people who change their minds often. A brand for a company is like a reputation for a person. You earn reputation by trying to do hard things well. Invention is by its very nature disruptive. If you want to be understood at all times, then don't do anything new. We can't be in survival mode. We have to be in growth mode. Work hard, have fun, make history. If you never want to be criticized, for goodness sake, don't do anything new. We see our customers as invited guests to a party, and we are the hosts. It's our job every day to make every important aspect of the customer experience a little bit better. The great thing about fact-based decisions is that they overrule the hierarchy. In the old world, you devoted 30% of your time to building a great service and 70% of your time to shouting about it. In the new world, that inverts. Your margin is my opportunity. The death knell for any enterprise is to glorify the past, no matter how good it was. Maintain a firm grasp of the obvious at all times. It's not an experiment if you know it's going to work. When you receive criticism from well-meaning people, it pays to ask, are they right? And if they are, you need to adapt what they're doing. If they're not right, if you really have conviction that they're not right, you need to have that long-term willingness to be misunderstood. It's a key part of invention. Start with the customer and work backward. If you decide that you're going to do only the things you know are going to work, you're going to leave a lot of opportunity on the table. Cultures aren't so much planned as they evolve from that early set of people. Your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. People who love all fields of knowledge are the ones who can best spot the patterns that exist across nature. If everything you do needs to work on a 3-year time horizon, then you're competing against a lot of people. But if you're willing to invest on a 7-year time horizon, you're now competing against a fraction of those people. Just by lengthening the time horizon, you can engage in endeavors that you could never otherwise pursue. No business can continue to shrink. That can only go on for so long before irrelevancy sets in. Entrepreneurs must be willing to be misunderstood for long periods of time. As a company, one of our greatest cultural strengths is accepting the fact that if you're going to invent, you're going to disrupt. My grandfather looked at me, and after a bit of silence, he gently and calmly said, "Jeff, one day you'll understand that it's harder to be kind than clever. Complaining is not a strategy. You have to work with the world as you find it, not as you would have it be. If you're doing anything interesting in the world, you are going to have critics. You can't stop it. Move forward. It's not worth losing any sleep over. In the end, we are our choices." I knew that if I failed I wouldn't regret that, but I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying. Position yourself with something that captures your curiosity, something that you're missionary about. What's dangerous is not to evolve. We humans co-evolve with our tools. We change our tools, and then our tools change us. What's good for customers is good for shareholders. I'd rather interview 50 people and not hire anyone than hire the wrong person. Use your heart and your intuition as well as empirical data in making a big decision. There has to be risk-taking. You have to have instinct. All the good decisions have to be made that way. You know the business plan won't survive its first encounters with reality, he says. But the discipline of writing the plan forces you to think through some of the issues and to get sort of mentally comfortable in the space. Then you start to understand, if you push on this knob, this will move over here and so on. So, that's the first step. As a company grows, everything needs to scale, including the size of your failed experiments. If the size of your failures isn't growing, you're not going to be inventing at a size that can actually move the needle. Starter pack of essentials for day 1: defense, customer obsession, a skeptical view of proxies, the eager adoption of external trends, and high-velocity decision-making. Why focus on cash flows? Because a share of stock is a share of a company's future cash flows, and, as a result, cash flows more than any other single variable seem to do the best job of explaining a company's stock price over the long term. We believe that it's technology married with the humanities that yields us the result that makes our heart sing. When something bad happens, you have 3 choices. You can either let it define you, let it destroy you, or you can let it strengthen you. I have no special talent, Einstein once said. I am only passionately curious. You collect as much data as you can, you immerse yourself in that data, but then you make the decision with your heart. Smart people are a dime a dozen and often don't amount to much. What counts is being creative and imaginative. Unrealistic beliefs on scope, often hidden and undiscussed, kill high standards.